Well, hello again to all of you wonderful people of the interwebs of the information superhighway with the newest edition of the 107th edition of my weekly series of Weird Mind Newsroom, where of course this week we will talk on the focus of all the big new releases of the week, the selection of trailers, and some highlights of the news stories up for this week. But for the moment, we'll get to them, and let's head into the journey and talking on all things media we have for this week.
Listen up, girl, I know you a Nintendo fan. Gotta switch day one so you can hold it in your hand.
So first up on the new releases for the week is one of the first big blockbusters of the summer season, as we have returned to the world of high table, stylish attire, and guns. Lots of guns. And provided us with so many particular faces in the field, including one famous Baba Yaga. But in this instance, we have a new young trained killer on the scene who is out for revenge and may have gotten an eye of the boogeyman himself, as we have a new film from the world of John Wick with Ballerina. The film will take place in between chapters 3 and 4 of John Wick and focus on E.U. Marcaro, played by Ana de Armas, a ballerina assassin who trains under the assassin traditions of the Ruska Roma, and will use these skills and expertise to hunt down those responsible for the deaths of her family, with the help of a certain few familiar faces, including one Baba Yaga. Reception on this new film, like the rest of the series, still received plenty of positive reviews with praise to its action sequences, set pieces, and performances, with Ana de Armas proving she can play a badass action lead, though some of the story elements is a little bit hit or miss compared to the main series. But if you're up for a return to the series again and want a bit of an action kick, then you can catch this new film out now in cinemas. As for the next new release for this week is seeing us take a journey across the realms of time and even to travel into the bit of the far reaches of space, as we have seen many years the most powerful humans being the greatest hunters or killers. But even if they were seen as the most fierce, they're about to come face to face with the next new powerful entity seen across many points of time of history. As we have the first of the two films based on the ultimate hunter life form, as we have the all-new animated anthology film of Predator, Killer of Killers. The film will give us a focus on three of the most fiercest warriors in human history: a Viking raider guiding his young son on their quest for revenge, a ninja in feudal Japan who turns against his samurai brother in a brutal battle for succession, and a World War II pilot taking to the skies to investigate an otherworldly threat to the Allied cause. And while they may be all killers in their own right, they are merely prey to their new opponent, who is seen as the ultimate killer of killers. Reception on this new film has so far seen some massive critical acclaim, with praise to its animated visuals, its anthology narrative, its character development, and its set pieces that make it the currently best reviewed entry in the entire Predator series. And if you're up for the hunt right now, then you can catch this new film currently out now on Disney Plus and Hulu, with the next Predator movie coming out this November. For the last of the films for this week can show the case that sometimes it can prove that many parts of the world can be seen as dangerous, and that can be said especially about the vast oceans that cover most of our planet. But in this case, it may not be the marine life that is the danger, but rather the company you keep on some of these boats and vessels, as we have a new thriller to present to you today with the all-new film of Dangerous Animals. The film focuses on a shark-obsessed serial killer who entices and lures people onto his boat before taking them out and feeding them as bait to the blood-hungry animals, who currently has a rebellious surfer named Zypher as a captive on his boat. And it will soon be a race against time for the girl to figure out a way to escape before she becomes part of the ritualistic feeding to the sharks below. Reception of this title has also seen some very well-received reception with praise to its simple focus premise, its tension and performances, with main praise to Jai Courtney's serial killer as a highlight. If you want to catch some waves or see some exotic animals, you can catch this new film out now as well in cinemas. Now for the gaming section, it mainly focused with new pieces, as we start with the big old release for the gaming world, as after many rumors, teases, a direct, many pieces of drama with price and small print details, we have finally gotten the release of the next gen console from the company that's been around for a long time coming for us, and that is of course with the release of the Nintendo Switch 2. This of course Nintendo's new hardware that's going to be much bigger in size, specs, and gaming, with larger storage, up to 1080p HD in handheld and up to 4K in TV mode, and some big launch titles as well, which too I will talk on in a moment, which includes the likes of Split Fiction, Hitman, World of Assassination Trilogy, Hogwarts Legacy, Cyberpunk 2077, Bravely Default, Sonic X Shadow Generations, No Man's Sky, and many more. Now, full reviews have not dropped as of yet, and many have seen it as being a bit of a Nintendo out of touch, as I've seen online and from some I know's opinions about it too. Now I know I may be a problem with getting it day one myself, and not helping the issue. I take the blame if I have my own complaints about the pricing and stuff myself, but so far, what I played of it, I have enjoyed it. I haven't tried out all the features yet, but I will give it a more insight down the line with some gameplays on my channel, and if you have the console, I hope you enjoy it, and if you aren't sure yet, I would try it out or play with a friend who has one and see if you appeal to it. And if you you're looking to buy one, it is available where consoles or anything can be sold, and it might be sold out at the moment, but keep an eye on your local stores listings for any new console editions. Now, I mentioned in the case there is one that I want to focus on in general, and the first one is a big launch game for this new console, and it's time to rev up the engines, go the distance, and prepare for chaos, as after 11 years since the last main entry of this series, it's time for a return to the Mushroom Kingdom for some high stakes racing with the release of Mario Kart World. This, of course, is the newest and biggest Mario Kart to date, with all new modes of 24 character races, new items, and of course with it also being an open world Mario Kart where you can go anywhere you want, and all for the purpose of seeing who's the best kart racer in the kingdom. Reception of this new entry has so far seen some really strong reception with praise to the selection of characters, the visuals, its modes, and gameplay mechanics, with most issues of critique seeing the open world being a little bit barren right now. Some new content would be appealing in that regards, and some about the massive price point for the game as well, but it has its appeal overall. If you want to play it for yourself, it is available now on the Nintendo Switch 2. As for the second title for this new console I have in focus, has you wondering what would consist of this console, how does it work? Well, this title will solve all those issues as we have the release of the Switch 2 Welcome Tour. This will of course be sort of an interactive museum that will have you explore a giant version of the console and get the insights on all the tech and accessories, and even play a few mini games to see how all these features will work. This title, however, has been hit with a more mixed reception. As well, the information and presentation seem to appeal, it has spawned some drama at costing €10 when it should have been a free add-on, and also sparked some controversy as apparently seen as a cash grab, and you need to buy all the accessories and have a 4K TV to properly complete the game, which just seemed really shady, and Nintendo will really need to respond properly to this in this regards before I play any form of this and make some amends to this. But if you want to try it out for yourself, it is also available on the Switch 2 if you're interested. And the last of the new releases we will focus on for this week is the return of the series that has been a long-awaited return of a strange world just under our feet, full of colourful characters and enemies. As after nearly 4 years since the last chapter, we have finally gotten the release of the third and fourth chapter of the popular indie title of Deltarune. This will see Chris and Susie return back to a strange kingdom under their school to help restore the world below in an aid of a good friend named Ralsei, and will come across vast new lands, creatures, bosses, and other familiar faces to help save their world from destruction. While no reception has been given solely for these new chapters on their own, the overall reception of the games have been very well received, with praise to its visuals, its gameplay mechanics, its story and humor, and if you're up for playing the new chapters now, they are available to play on PC, PS4 and 5, and Nintendo Switch 1 and 2. And with all of that regards now, that's all the new releases that we do have for this week. Bring. Hello! So this week's trailers seem to have a bit of a theme between them, and the first of them seem to be that the likes of the trauma one faces can really mess with someone's life perception after enduring it or surviving against it. But in this case, those demons from the past will come back to haunt you, and when they come calling, will you be answering the call? As after the sleeper hit release over 4 years ago, we have received a trailer for the sequel to The Black Phone. The film is set 4 years after the original and see Gwen, now 15 years old, being haunted by nightmares where she's receiving calls on the Black Phone and some disturbing visions of 3 young boys being stalked and killed at a winter camp. Accompanied by her older brother Finn, who survived the attack of this serial killer, they head to the said camp to solve that mystery, only to once again confront the grabber, killer who seems to have grown even more powerful in death. So it was a question of wondering of how they would make a follow-up to the original after the end of the last one saw the demise of the central villain. But I can see that it can go in a more strange supernatural way that gives him a bit of a Freddy Krueger vibe to his reappearance, and the way they teased this at first with a long legs type snippets and tone to this gives me a bit of a decent bit of appeal to this project. It may actually turn out really decently good. We have a little bit of time before we have to check this out, but the fall will ring its way into cinemas from October 17th. And the second trailer gives a sense of showing that we have started to come a long way in the advancements of artificial intelligence, a concept that I grow weary of with each passing day. That shows that left unchecked or messed with the sole purpose programming will see it go haywire and cause some possible bloodshed. But in the basis of this film, it's time for a reboot of the system and for some upgrades to the software, as this bitch is back, and this time in the focus of doing more good than evil. Well, results may vary, as we receive the second and final trailer for the upcoming film of Megan 2.0. Taking place after the original movie, a marvel of artificial intelligence went rogue and went on a murderous rampage, its creator's Gemma has become an advocate for the government on side of AI. But unbeknownst to her, a defense contractor has created a military-grade weapon known as Amelia, seen as the ultimate infiltration spy using the design and specs of Megan. However, as Amelia's self-awareness increases, it becomes less interested in taking orders, and in the case of hoping to stop this new rogue AI, Gemma decides to resurrect Megan and take them down and make her faster, stronger, vulgar and more lethal. So in all case, I do see the likes of this film having its appeal in general, as I was one that was really ready to put it off with the original, but watched it a little while ago. I thought it was not bad. Sure, it has a bit of issues here and there, but I'm sure it has the appeal of being a bit of a campy film. The likes of this one maybe trying just a little bit too much or moving too far away from a horror to more of a spy comedy type film, but maybe it's just how it's marketed. It has its moments, and I'm sure there'll be some fans, but I'll go into it some manageable expectations. We don't have to wait too long to find out about this, as this new upgrade will be uploaded itself into cinemas in 3 weeks' time on June 27th. Now for the trailer for the movie that I feel from all of the marketing and the excessive amounts of demand everyone has been waiting for this, and the endless behind the scenes photos of the main star's social media since the release of the film last November have me feeling I've seen the full 2 movies already. It's time to question if this will really change me for good, after feeling a little mixed opinion on the first half. As after demand and wait, they have finally dropped the first trailer for the second half of the popular musical with Wicked for Good. The film follows on from part 1, where Alphabet, now demonized as the Wicked Witch of the West, living exiled in the Ozian forest, continuing to fight for the silenced animals and show the corruption of the wizard. Meanwhile, Galinda is living as a symbol of goodness in an emerald city and taking the perks of fame and popularity, and under the instruction of Madame Marble to try and be seen as a comfort for the realm of concern to the citizens of the land. Haunted by the separation of her close friend and her planned wedding to Fiyero, with they're trying to find a way to broker a deal between the opposing sides, but possibly driving them further apart, but will need to come together for one more time to change things for good against the lies of the wizard, the rising mobs, and change for some fellow Ozians before a girl from Kansas comes crashing into the lives of everyone. So I may have mentioned about it in the past, but not fully sure, but I felt a little underwhelmed about the first film adaptation. Some of the bits were good, like performances and production, but some bits like Glinda does not really feel much like a good person. The film was a bit too overly long and probably didn't need to be 2 parts, and both being the same length as the actual Broadway musical. And then all the behind the scenes drama during the filming, the affairs and stuff that the 2 main leads, and the press tour, and in the case of people Alpha Buzz, Cynthia Riva getting a bit mad about a fan-made poster that really made the poster accurate, and then complaining about this, yet she's posting memes about her deadpan face before this. I was like, what's going on here? And it kind of feels overwhelming to appeal to it all. Maybe this could change my opinion on it, but I will see by its release and when I do a full review on the first part, but we'll see. Also, feel this way, you could probably do a drinking game for every time they post anything about this movie on their socials, or they get emotional in the interviews for this, and it's a common thing with both of them. But I'm sure we will see it will be changed for the good by the release of the second part in cinemas on November 21st. As for the only TV trailer for this week, is saying the idea that for about 50 years now, we have been told about how when we are in space, no one will hear you scream. But in this new instance, this one is about to be a lot more close to home, and I'm sure they will hear you scream for sure. As coming to us from the big screen to the small screen instead, we have received a trailer for the upcoming new TV series based on the popular sci-fi franchise with Alien Earth. Set about a century into the future and 2 years before the events of the original 1979 original movie, the series will see a large mysterious space vessel crash landing on Earth, where you will see a young woman and a ragtag group of tactical soldiers make a discovery that will now put them face to face with the planet's biggest threat. I will say that I feel similar to the likes of Predator, the Alien franchise has started to see more of an appeal start to come back in the form of popularity and positive outcomes of reception and box office, like the recent films and some of the games like, Alien Isolation and its upcoming sequel, Fireteam Elite, Dark Descent, and many more. And of course the case with Alien Romulus last year, with the sequel apparently start filming later this year. And I feel this one may be added to the list in due time. The production looks appealing, a more Earth-based series of this creature is how it all begins is pretty cool, and knowing the showrunner also made one of the best beloved series of Fargo, I'm sure we might have a possible success on our hands. I'll give this a look in due time, as this series will arrive on Earth on Disney Plus and Hulu from the 12th of August. And for the final trailer for this week is one that has made to wonder, have you ever felt what it must be like to be in someone else's shoes and see what they have to experience and go through to understand their struggles? Well, in the concept of this next one, this may be one that will literally have that happen, and be double the drama and trouble than the first time. As after 2 decades since the original film, we have received a new trailer for the sequel to Freaky Friday with Freakier Friday. The film will see the return of mother and daughter Tess and Anna, who discovered that the likes of lightning may indeed strike twice in a rare occasion, as the experience they have had 2 decades ago seems to take hold again and see them swap bodies once more. But instead of just the 2 of them, it also now involves Anna's older daughters. So in all sense, I can say that the original film from about 2 decades ago has a fair share of appeal and is seen as a cult classic in their own right to many, and since then they have tried and made a new few similar body swap films, and even from Disney themselves or other forms of Freaky Friday before this one with varying appeal. The likes of this one seems interesting of doubling the body swapping. I do hope the film will turn out decently, just at the moment it just seems fine. Nothing's really jumping out at me with the appeal or the humor being a little bit here and there, but I'm sure it may appeal to some original fans and may find some new ones in their cards as well. But I'm sure we can see in due time as the film will be hitting the big screen in just about 2 months time on August 8th. And now with all of that, that's all the new trailers that we do have for this week. Alright, I can already tell my throat is about to go for this week. So the likes of the week, this news stories for this week is one that I was not expecting to be delving into a lot of new content and focus for, but I knew one of these events was upcoming. But this first one dropped an announcement out of nowhere, and also felt a little intentional for them to do this the day before their rival in terms of big gaming focus was dropping. But this week we got the unveiling of a new state of play from PlayStation that delivered about 25 titles from this week, or some upcoming releases of the end of the year and to the next and beyond. And I will be flying through and just give a quick info on new releases as well as any release dates of some of these other focus titles. So let's just get into it. So first unveiled was a new Tetris-like game from the developers of Tetris Fusion with a game known as Luminous Arise. There was elements of music, sound and visual splicing of making it quite an immersive experience, and probably one that will be quite the trip when we're taking in some gardening, but I'm sure we'll see you check this out when the game drops later this year sometime in the fall. Then a title that was seen as presumed dead or shelved has been rebooted in the form of a return in focus of the game known as Pragmata, that has used a space explorer on a journey with a small robot child named Diana as you make your way through an industrial lunar base in search of answers and takes down enemies along the way with your unique powers and attacks. After being revived to still be on the way, will be a title to look out for when it hits consoles and PC next year. Then we got a new look at the new Souls-like sci-fi game of Romeo is a Dead Man, being made from the studio that brought us the No More Heroes series. I can see the sense of humor in the trailer that connects to that game, and the visuals game look pretty flashy and stylish. It looks like it could be a fun game to try, and this one will be also dropping onto the consoles sometime next year. We then got an all new look at the next entry of the Silent Hill series with Silent Hill F, that is the first in the series since the short message last year, and this new one sees a lot more of the classic Silent Hill meets Fatal Frame vibe, or even the small title of Dreadout from 2014. And so far it does look pretty cool, and thankfully we now have a release date for this, with this title hitting consoles and PC on September 25th this year, so just in time for the spooky season. Then keeping it to the horror focus but with a more gothic tone, we got an unveiling of a new game in the Bloodstained series with The Sacred Engagement that is set to be a prequel to Ritual of the Night. That was giving me some strong Castlevania vibes, and I thought it was going to be a new one for a while, but I think this one does look like an entertaining fix and work a return to the style of the game in due time, with its release coming sometime in 2026 as well. Then we got a new look at the next entry of the popular series of Digimon story with Time Stranger that shows off some more of the plot that involves a bit of a time travel shenanigans and more digital creatures to save the world from destruction, and we now have an official release date with you being set to try it out for release on October 3rd of this year. Then we got a new look at the remaster of the classic Final Fantasy entry with the Tactics series title of Valhalla Chronicles that will come with both a new remastered visual as well as an option to play in the classic style. And you can relive the memories of the classic title real soon with the release of this on the 30th of September. Then need a break for those games and need to stretch those legs and probably touch some grass? Well, a new title from the co-op creators of Baby Steps has you covered as you leave the confines of your mom's basement and head on a trip to up a mountain, as well as many rest stops along the way. It looks like it will be a lot of fun, but also a sense of frustration, but we will see by its release when it comes out on September 8th. Then a title I see as like a PlayStation version of Paper Mario, we have a new title of Hirogami, where you are a little ninja or samurai made out of origami, and you go on a massive quest to save your home from the invading digital army. And it does give me a vibe of wanting a new entry from the Tearaway or Paper Mario series, and this will appeal to fix me till we get a new announcement of those ones, but I think, but when it comes out on the 3rd of September. Then we're hitting the fairways for a new look at the next entry of the Everybody's Golf series with Hot Shots. That's a new day-night cycle, new ways to play, and even Pac-Man himself is making an appearance in the title, and you can hit the fairways soon when it comes out on the 5th of September this year itself as well. Then it's time to hack and slash your way through all new entry of the Ninja Gaiden series with the game of Ragebound that has you fight the forces of evil in order to save your home from destruction, and does look like a proper great title to play and a return to form, and it's not too far away as well as from the release as it be hitting the consoles and PC from the 31st of July. Then you're up for seeing some beautiful vistas and scenery, all while sending something that could spell instant death if one false move is done. Then the new title of Cairn will be just what you are looking for playing a silent protagonist as you climb your way to the top of many mountains, meet other climbers along the way, and seems like worth a play and a peaceful time when this title does release on November 5th of this year, but you could try the game out now through a demo available on the PlayStation Store. Then we will see if you really test your might across multiple titles. We have a new legacy collection of the Mortal Kombat series series, with many original titles and more to be announced for the collection to appeal to the masses and be releasing on all consoles and PCs sometime later this year. And of course, to coincide with that title was the unveiling of a new accessory for the event, which was a classic arcade fighting stick controller being designed for the PlayStation and PC, with a release and more info on the device coming by the launch in 2026. We then got a new look at the upcoming remake of Snake Eater, showing off some sweet gameplay and updated visuals of the beloved title, and including some new footage of the classic ape escape features from the original title. You'll soon go on a mission that gave Big Boss his name when it launches on the 28th of August this year. Then one of the big reveals of the event that was actually really interesting and received a confirmation revival of a third entry in the Neo series that has been seen as now a massive open world title and jumping between styles of both samurai and ninja, as so far it looks pretty cool and will probably be worth a try on the first two as well before its release in early 2026. And if you can't wait, there is also a demo available to try out now on the console. And then the only VR focused title for this event is the return to a series that has not seen an entry since 2014, and that is of course the return of the Thief series with the title of Legacy of Shadow, that will have you play as Magpie, an orphan thief that roams the city doing thief things, and go against the barren, useless Northcrest. That will have you come across a powerful artifact that will have some unraveling secrets and conspiracies start appearing across the series, and seeing it return again is great and hopefully will be accessible in normal and VR modes, and we'll see by its release sometime later this year. Then we got the unveiling of a new title known as Tides of Tomorrow that will have you play as a tide turner and have you explore a town and island in disarray and come with a unique form of following the story of some other players to uncover a mystery of change or the outcome of their stories or of your own, and does look really cool, and it will be worth a play when it does come out on consoles on February 24th of next year. Then last year's Game of the Year darling of Astrobot is back again with another wave of new challenges planets for more new fun and adventures in the cosmos, with plenty of beloved characters and mascots appearing in the new update that will drop sometime later this month. Then we got the reveal of a new title known as Sea of Remnants that has you sail the high seas, warp some forms of odd powers and magic, and battle some strange and dangerous foes that initially I thought was some DLC for Sea of Thieves, but can see as an entirely new game, and maybe worth a plunder or worth a try when released to the consoles and PCs sometime next year. Then the studio behind Abzu and Journey have their new title of Sword of the Sea, of playing as a mysterious protagonist that serves atop his magical sword across vast deserts, oceans and lands in search of answers and restore life and nature to the lands that's been left barren. It looks like something that will have very minimal discussion but will explain a lot and be worth a try of some peace when it releases on August 19th of this year. Then after a bit of time since it was first announced a couple of years ago, we have finally gotten the official look at the new 007 game from the studio behind the Hitman series with First Light. That was seen as more of an origin story to the iconic spy, and now he got his moniker and became known as MI5's best agent. It gives me a vibe of both the Hitman games and a little of Uncharted as well, and could be interesting to try out. I'm sure we'll be able to experience this new game when it's released sometime in 2026. And finally, after having a brief tease of the next Ghost of Yotai game with a state of play focused event coming later this summer, we were given a reveal of an all-new fighting game set in the Marvel Universe with Marvel Token Fighting Souls. That's a 4v4 fighter with some familiar faces so far confirmed, including Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Ms. Marvel, Doctor Doom, Ghost Rider, Storm, and Star-Lord, and more likely on the way. And while they spent a little too long in the behind-the-scenes development in this event, I think it does look cool and stylized and worth a try when it does release sometime next year. And that was all from the recent state of play, and while I see these ones are not being as great as the likes of Nintendo Directs, I can see they are trying and improving overall, and there was one or two decent ones in there. Sure, they could have asked for more, but this comes more of the next news story, which we'll get into now in a moment. But what I want to think of what you thought of these announcements. Is there any of these you're excited for, and what did you hope you would have revealed at this state of play? Let me know your opinions and choices down below in the comments, and we can chat about them there. And then for this second event, this was one I knew was on the way, but I think it was probably more next week, but we've had the live stream of the Summer Games Fest. Now I know there's another one that's apparently starting right now, which is the Xbox Showcase, but that's going to be next week, which is essentially what we will now take over for E3, and we have what I've heard is about 50 new titles announced at the event on Friday, with some that looked cool and some that were hype as hell. We will get through all of them now and get to talking on these announcements, with some bundled together as one to speed up some process too if we have the chance, I guess. So starting off the event was the first of a few new Soulsborne-like games. So we have the announcement of a sequel to Mortal Shell, along with a follow-up that looks visually great and has a lot of visually grim and appealing looking designs and monsters. I'm sure it will be appealing to try when the game launches on console and PC sometime next year. And then Mr. Keighley's good old friend of Hideo Kojima came out on stage and presented a new look clip at the next entry of the Death Stranding series. And while not much is shown, it does look visually great, and I'm sure we will get some gameplay footage in the upcoming live gameplay apparently today, and then we can delve into the game itself when it drops in just about 3 weeks time on the 26th of June. Then we got the look of a new strategy type game set in the medieval time time of the Chronicles medieval game that has some appeal of interest of planning out these epic battles and is also being narrated by Tom Hardy. So there's a huge bit of appeal in this, and I'm sure it'll be worth a try at some point when it comes out sometime next year. Then it's time to rev up the engines and explore vast new worlds as we have a new look at the upcoming Sonic Racing Crossworlds game, with the new title not only just having your favorite Sonic characters, but also introducing some special guests, including Hatsune Miku, Joker from Persona, Ichiban from Yakuza, and Steve, Alex, and a Creeper from Minecraft, all coming soon. So the likes of this leaks of some of these being accurate, and if it's the case, then we're going to see a certain sea sponge, some turtles, and a certain airbender appearing in the later announcements, possibly soon, but we will see whether it leaks of the game on September 25th of this year. Then they show up the next entry of the Code Vein series, where you and a chosen partner will explore vast worlds, fight powerful enemies, and uncover quite an epic story that will transcend the realm of time and space itself, and will be worth a check out when the game releases sometime very soon. We did have a new title from an upcoming studio known as End of Abyss, with an isometrical horror game that will have you play as a young combat technician as you explore a mysterious underground compound where you'll encounter mysterious disturbances that do not seem human. There's a bit of a Little Nightmares vibe to it, and it has a bit of an appeal to it. I'm sure it'll be worth a try when it releases sometime next year. Then they gave a brief teaser for the next Mouse PI title, with the focus of the confirmation our main protagonist played by the voice icon himself of Troy Baker, and will be interested to play this 1930s style FPS title when it releases sometime very soon. Then initially I thought this was the recent mobile game they brought out for this title, but it turns out we have another new Game of Thrones title on the way, RTS known as War for Westeros, which looks like you have to control to change the outcome of how the story will go, and will probably sit upon the throne, and likely have some make the ending they wanted from the series, which could be interesting to see if it comes together when the game launches sometime later next year. Then a surprise sequel that I was not expecting to see, but we got the announcement of a sequel to the 2023 title of Atomic Heart, which looks to go bigger, better, and action-packed, and hopefully we'll have less complaints like the original had about connecting to a current war, as well as about people wanting more of the Hot Lady Robot on Hot Lady Robot action. That'd be worth to see more about this when it releases in the future. And also came out announced with a new extra title set in the same universe of the game known as The Cube. That is more of a possible battle royale and more of an MMORPG, with this one also having no confirmed release date as of yet, but stay tuned for more information when we do get it. We then got another new look at the upcoming pixel art brawler of Marvel Cosmic Invasion, with the introduction of another new addition to the roster, with both Rocket Raccoon and She-Hulk being added to the cast of growing Marvel heroes as the game continues development for its release sometime later this year. We then got some new look footage of the next entry of the Onimusha series with Way of the Sword that shows off some more of the combat gameplay and some of the world and environment that you are fighting in and exploring amongst in due time, and I think it's looking great, and I'm sure it will be worth a try when it releases sometime in the new year. And now for one of the weirdest announcements of the night was the unveiling of a game known as Felt That Boxing, which is what seems to be the likes of a Muppet Puppet Punch-Out title, which looks really weird and seems to be like an FMV style game, and looks weird, but I'm sure may have some humor to it, but I'm sure we will worth looking into when it releases sometime in the near future. Then it'll be time to check into the new game of The Killer Inn, that has a bit of a mix of Among Us, Dead by Daylight, and the recent version of Cluedo, where everybody wants to bang every version of the suspects in that madcap game. They could have some great laughs with friends, and while no release date has been announced yet, a closed beta for the game will be available on the way sometime real soon. And then we were given some new look at the upcoming title of Arc Raiders, which will be seeing a new PvPvE shooter that I'm sure will have its appeal in due time. And for those that have wondered when we'll see a reveal date for this title, it's not too far away, as the game will be releasing just in time for Halloween on October 30th of this year. Then while the next game shown was Dune Awakening, which is coming out in about 2 days time as recording this, I will skip it for the moment and we'll head to the next Souls-like title of Chrono Odyssey, which seems to be a lot of visually spiritual type narrative and involves some elements of time-based focus. It seems to be quite an interesting title that can be worth a try, with a beta test in about 2 weeks time and a release sometime later this year. We then got a new look at the MIO, Memories in Orbit, that didn't show a lot compared to its reveal a year ago in Nintendo Direct in the summer of last year, but it's also confirmed that you can now play a demo of this game right now on consoles and PC to give a taste of what to expect with this title before it releases sometime later this year. Then we got a reveal of a new game made entirely in stop motion clay with the title of Out of Words, of two kids getting lost in a mysterious place and without a way to speak with one another with no mouths, and we'll soon have them on a wild adventure to get back home. It looks so inviting and worth a try when it's due out when it releases sometime in 2026. And then we got a new look at the story and some gameplay at the upcoming prequel to the new Mafia Old Country title. That looks to be the most grounded, visually stunning entry yet, and I feel will be well worth the wait, and we're not far away from it as well, so it's dropping in just about 2 months on the 8th of August. We then got 2 new LEGO titles announced at the event at 2 different points in the show, but with the first being Voyagers, where you'll start off as tiny one-piece bricks with eyes and working together to go on a big adventure, and the other is LEGO Party, which is essentially a Mario Party clone with all LEGO minifigs and characters, and go head-to-head to collect the most gold bricks. Both of these titles will have their appeal and are releasing sometime either later this year or into next year, but we don't know yet. Then the voice of Sandy Cheeks herself came out to unveil a small teaser of the next top-down RPG known as Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny, which may be a follow-up to the SpongeBob and Friends series in some form with a new style, but I'm sure we will get more what to expect, as well as all the other cast members from the Nick series making a reveal, but I'm sure we'll get released about this sometime later this fall. Then the only shadow drop for the night was a new look at the gameplay of the all-new Liza P DLC of Overture that will have you take on even more new bosses and explore a corrupted winter carnival and more, and I'm sure will be a cool time to play, and the game's DLC will be out to play right now, so you can play on the consoles, so go play it. Then this labeled as Doki Doki Literature Club meets Silent Hill, there was a bit of a trippy farming horror sim with the title of Fractured Souls as a unique appeal, and I'm sure it will be something that will be worth a watch, and I'll probably check it out when it comes out sometime soon. There was a selection of some anime titles, and while the first 2 were just some updates to games that were already out, we got a new look at a gameplay for a title known as 7 Deadly Sins Origins that has a bit of a cozy vibe and working appeal and may be worth a play for many when it releases sometime soon. No release date has been given yet on that. And then feeling slightly tying into release of the next film in a month's time, we got the unveiling of a 3rd entry in the Jurassic World Evolution series that will of course let you create and control your own version of the parks and avoid massive lawsuits and casualties by avoiding any dino outbreaks. And I'll maybe give a look into the series in due time, but the 3rd entry will be roaring its way onto consoles and PC from the 21st of August. Then Yacht Club Games, the studio behind the beloved Shovel Knight title, revealed their next title of Mina the Hollower, which is a bit of a pixel dungeon crawler type vibe with a bit of an appeal and flair, and knowing this studio, I'm sure it'll be worth a playthrough, and the title will be arriving on Halloween this year on October 31st, so look forward to that. Then the Merc with the Mouth hijacked the show, and probably from showing a Silksong trailer, to unveil his all-new game that is a VR title for MetaQuest 3. Well, while a new Deadpool games sounds quite appealing and the title looks cool to play, I wish there was more of an option to play on Quest 2 or just for a first-person Deadpool game instead, but I'm sure they may be worth a play when it releases sometime later this year. They then presented some new look at the upcoming new Dying Light title of The Beast with some gameplay and a brief glimpse of the story involved as well. I think it looks appealing and may be worth a playthrough, and hopefully will turn out well for its release on consoles and PC on the 22nd of August of this year. We then got another look at the new title from Annapurna Entertainment with the focus of the title of Mixtape that's giving a strong 90s vibe and appeal that may work out or have some sense of coded tone to it home that may be enjoyable, then I may give it a try when it releases sometime very soon. Then they showed off some footage of a new roguelike anime title of Tawa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree, which seems to have an appeal and will tap into the lore of Eastern mythicism, and I'm sure will have its appeal in audience with the title hitting the digital stores from the 18th of September this year. Then a new title unveiled by a one-person development team with the game title of Axe of Blood that gives me a mix of Old Boy and Saifu in terms of setting and combat form. It just look really appealing and maybe worth a try, and watch the development logs as well online, but we'll see how it turns out with the release of the game in 2026. Then a surprise announcement I did not expect, but we were getting a follow-up to the original Scott Pilgrim game with EX to have you play as Scott, Ramona, or some of the previous X's, and you battle to save your hometown of Toronto from some weird creatures like vegans and stuff. And, you know, it looks cool. I'm sure it'll be worth playing when it releases sometime on the console PC in 2026. Then they showed off some gameplay and story footage for the imminent release of Mindside, made by the same Rockstar developers alongside IO9, and seems like they're well over play, and I'm interested to check out when it drops on Tuesday this week, and also see some of the event that will see Agent 47 make an appearance sometime later this summer. But speaking of Hitman, there's a new month event where you can take down the elusive target of Le Chiffre from Casino Royale, played by Mads Mikkelsen in the recent trilogy, and if successful will unlock you a new special item for the upcoming James Bond title as well. You can take him down anywhere between June 6th and July 6th of this year. And then we go to look at a new 20-player 5v5 team game of Wildgate that will see some of the space adventure battles, and all for the purpose of fighting for something known as the Artifact. It looks visually appealing and may work out well, as the title may be worth a try when the title releases onto consoles and PC on July 24th. Then the studio behind Guacamelee has brought a new look at their next Metroidvania title of Blighted that looks very cool, has some very corrupted creature looks designs, and gives a bit of a Hades vibe. It does look very appealing. I'm sure it'll be worth a try when the title releases sometime very soon. Then we have a new look at an all new horror title known as Ill that gives it off a look and feel of a Silent Hill or Resident Evil title, with the focus of these enemies all being supposedly balding white men, but it seems to be a case that may have some appeal and horrors. Plus, you can drop kick monster children into stuff, which is pretty funny looking when it releases sometime very soon. Then if you were wondering or thinking, we need some more mech-based content, then thankfully the next reveal will cover you for that, as we have some very new gameplay and official release date revealed for the next game of Mecha Break that will have you choose your class, loadout, and battle all out of the all-out mecha action. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out with a release on July 1st this year. Now we have a new all-out action shooter, but more on a microscopic scale, with a new title of Infinitesimals that will have you play as an insect soldier as you protect the citizens of this garden against mechanized creatures and giant forms of monsters and predators. It does look like it could be really appealing of being a more upgraded version of the game of Grounded, and will be worth it trying out in due time when the game releases sometime in 2026. Then after being annoyed by the way they went with an RE tease, they didn't show much and went straight into a very weird trailer for the DLC roster of characters for a year free of Street Fighter 6, with new fighters of Sagat, Sea Viper, Ingrid, and Alex join the roster, with all of them coming to fight sometime later this summer. Then there was an all-out look at the new upcoming title of Wu Chang Fallen Fetters that is showing off more of the Souls-like style of gameplay in the setting of the late Ming Dynasty, which looks very stunning and very stylized, and really work well, and maybe worth a try when it releases on July 24th of this year. Then there was a focus and event of a game starting the Wu-Tang Clan with Rise of the Deceiver, with the game having you in a stylish action RPG that has you recruit members and learn some fantastical powers to save their home of Shaolin, and just look cool and will be worth a try out when the game comes out sometime very soon. Then we have an all new action fighter with a unique classic cartoon style known as Into the Unwell that gives me a bit of a 3D Cuphead style, mixed with a bit of a style narrative of Conker's Bad Fur Day. I like the approach to it and will hopefully expect a challenge with the game when this game title releases sometime soon in the future. Then initially revealed at the Game Awards as Project Century, the title has now been revealed as Stranger Than Heaven, that has you play as a detective named Taito, solving mystery and likely a massive conspiracy in 1943's Japan. Again, it's the Yakuza style, and the same developers that make this series, it will probably be serious and also a bit goofy in there as well, and be well worth a try when a mystery unfolds sometime very soon. And then finally, after initially feeling very well blue ball teased with the reveal of a new Resident Evil a little while beforehand, the event ended with actually giving us a 5-course meal of a reveal to Resident Evil 9 Requiem that looks to be a new character connected to the past, seeing us return to Raccoon City after a very long time, and whatever was left of the city as well. And it looks rad and cool. I need to get on a call with some people to fear us and what to expect, but we know when it will return to this game as it hits consoles and PC on February 27th of 2026. And that brings the end of the Summer Games Fest conference, and while there was a bit of a mixed selection, I think it was a solid outcome of the event, and ending strong with RE9 was great. Sure, some of the other titles like an appearance on Wolverine or GTA or Beyond Good and Evil 2 or a new Rayman game would have been hype, but I'm fine with all that was shown here overall, so we'll go with that regards. But I want to know your thoughts on all these announcements. Are any of these that you're most excited for, and was there anything in particular you were hoping to see at this event, and are any of them that you're looking to play when it comes out? Let me know your thoughts down below. We can talk all about them down there. And the final story for this week is a little bit more brief, but I'm going to give a quick little roundup of some casting for a few projects that were revealed this week, 2 being a focus on movies, and 1 that connects to a film franchise but more in the realm of the theatre. But let's delve into what those announcements are. So first was a focus on the upcoming release of a new series from the massive universe of the MCU, and that is with a planned series focused on the characters of the Vision with Vision Quest. Now we have heard very little bits about the upcoming series, which includes them finding either, I think it was a writer or showrunner, sorry it's been a while, and at the case of the reports that the main antagonist of this series is going to be a return of Ultron, as well as a Lady Ultron as well, which may appeal too. But this week we got a bit of a first of a new casting for another character that is set to appear in the show. As was announced on Wednesday, the actress and Schitt's Creek star of Emily Hampstead will be cast in the series and will train the human form of Edith, which was known as Even Dead I'm the Hero, who was last seen or heard back in Spider-Man Far From Home. Now it'll be intriguing to see how much of a presence that Edith will have in this film, or if it will be a reason that Ultron is trying to come back and take control, but it's currently unclear. I'm sure we'll learn more about this project and show in due time, and I'm glad, and we'll get an official release in this project soon, but once I hear anything, I'll update in a later project, of course. But the next one is essentially not really a film or show focus as well, but this one in the realm of theatre that connects to a film series it is based on. We're once again talking on the Harry Potter series. Now, if you were possibly unaware, there's an actual 8th story in this series that is out there that was turned into a stage play in the West End known as Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, that focused on Harry's kids and had some elements of using time travel and everything in it, and also heavily contradicts some stuff from the books. And again, this is from an author that says she has everything planned, but like her opinions on some people, which are complete bullshit. Now, recently it was revealed that the show will be going from West End to the Broadway and having a big old appeal of some in the States who wanted to see this in the story. And in the case of this, there's one particular character who will be making a jump from screen to stage, as Tom Felton has been announced to be part of this project and will be returning to his character of the older Draco Malfoy in the show. Now, of course, given this announcement, he, like the cast of the upcoming TV adaptation, has received backlash for working on projects that help fund the offer's awful views, and I'm sure if he has responded to any of this backlash himself, but hopefully we'll see an error of his ways right now, if it's currently unclear. We'll see if there's any change or if the appeal will follow on from this, but for now, all we can do is wait before the show debuts on Broadway in November this year, before we can get some official information about this whole thing. As for the last casting discussion, is one that we already confirmed that has been brought up recently in a report as some rumors to who may be playing, and that is the case of the casting of Whale and Fear Street star of Sadie Sink in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, a few weeks ago, they were confirmed to appear in the project, but the concept of her role has been left up in the realm of secrecy and speculation, with some rumored ones floating around that they were initially being eyed to play the mutant Jean Grey for the X-Men before the casting, and then some saying they haven't cast her as Mary Jane. But this one makes kind of no sense given MJ is already in the MCU, but could just be an instance of an alternate universe version. Now, the most recent one seems to be making a bit more of the rounds recently and is looking, according to sources, to be her being cast as a version of one of Spidey's other love interests of Gwen Stacy, and maybe an alternate universe version that has already been established as Spider-Gwen. Now, in all fairness, I think this approach feels more of a fair for a character compared to having another MJ thrown in there, but it could also be a case that this is an alternate universe Gwen Stacy, that she could still portray a version of Jean Grey in this main MCU universe, which I think is either 616 or 1999, as it is unclear. So I'm honestly fine with this choice, and if it is as good of a character development of Gwen like she is in the Spider-Verse movies, then I'm all for it being so. But for the moment, this is of course just a theory and rumor, and should just be taken all with big old grain of salt, and once anything does get confirmed or revealed, then I will update in a later version. But I want to know your thoughts on these castings. Do you think she's a good fit for the character in Vision Quest? Do you see Felton playing Malfoy again, or a good thing, or should he drop out to avoid supporting the Cursed series now? And who do you see Sadie Sink playing the new Spider-Man film? Let me know your thoughts and predictions down below in the comments. We can talk about them there. And with all of that, that's all the news that we do have for this week. And now in the case with all of that, that's all the content for episode 107 of Weird Mind Newsroom, and I hope you enjoyed listening to my ramblings for probably about 40 minutes at this rate. I have no idea, it's a long episode. But I'm going to try and fly through this kind of conclusion very quick and just give quick fire updates and some stuff. So we'll start with reviews and guys. Last of Us review is still coming along. I need to find some time to actually properly finish writing up the first season 1, maybe throw in season 2 in that regards, but I'll probably give a bit of time for season 2 just to kind of mold over near close maybe to season 3, whenever that is, which I think is supposedly a year out or something. I have no clue. There's going to be some quick fire reviews ones. I'm going to have the Fall Guy one probably uploaded at some point this week. It's a very short one. It's between 1 to 3 minutes. So it's going to be on my YouTube Shorts. It's going to go on my social medias like Insta and TikTok. So look forward to those regards in that case of things. And then some more long form stuff will be coming on as well. So do look forward to those ones. Gameplay wise. So as I mentioned in case instance, I do have the Switch too. I will probably record some Mario Kart as well as some Hitman and maybe Deltarune chapters 3 and 4, which is on the console as well. As well as case instance, I'm going to record the rest of Mario Wonder. I'm going to do some Cyberpunk. I'm going to get to Star Wars Outlaws again. I'm going to do Outlaws DLC. All these ones are going to come out in that regard. So look forward to those in case. I just haven't had the time to properly record them. I've just been so busy and so out of focus and just so exhausted from coming home from work. So just bear with me in those regards. They will be coming in that case of things. And then the case of the long form stuff, AI audience video is still going to come along as well. I'm going to find some time to record it. Probably have some time maybe this week. The rewatchathon, I'm going to get to finishing recording and get ready to go, as well as the case of Horror Most Wars coming along. The time-lapse video of Mario is currently still working away right now. I've just finished day 1. I'm in the middle of day 2. I've got a third day still to finish. It's looking a case it is over 20 minutes anyway. A good portion of day 1 is me talking, but there's still bits of time-lapse and stuff. Time-lapse might be a bit here and there. It might be a bit messy in terms of the time-lapse bits, but I'm going to try my best in that regards. But you can look forward to them. They're going to come along soon enough. But for the moment, I'm going to leave it there for now because I've talked on way too much. I need a break. So if you enjoy my content and want to see more from me more frequently, then simply like and subscribe, as I upload new stuff every single week, and I'm hoping by the end of this month to reach 500 subs. We're about 450 something, so hopefully we'll get there by then. And I appreciate all the support over time for just the support and everything, so thank you all for checking in and just supporting my content and watching over time. I'd like to know your thoughts on everything that was discussed this week as well down below, of all the new releases, the trailers, the news stories, the endless news stories, and just let me know your thoughts on everything that was discussed down below and give your thoughts and everything, and I'll comment all your stuff and chat about things and stuff like that. Let's have an open conversation and things like that. But I'm gonna leave it there for now in that regards because I've talked on long enough. So as always, you all stay wonderful people, have a great day every day, doing many great things and keeping you because no one else can do what you do. And of course, take care of yourself because taking care of yourself is very important, especially your mental health in these trying times. In any case, I've been your host Sam, and I shall see you all in the next episode. So take care, and I'll see you all later.